Welcome back. We're always excited, no matter how many times you come.
Come on, let's go, people. I need some energy. Here we go. These are
he's off. Does this normally happen?
My better Connecticut hotties right here. I need this guy. This guy's a little frightening, but otherwise it's fine. Anybody who laughs really hard gets as much toilet paper as you want with some pine sol. And you look like you bake pies and drink gin in the afternoon.
Rum.
Okay, good. I knew you were an alcoholic.
Oh, my gosh.
How are you? Nice to see you again.
Sit down.
How are you?
Nice to
All right,
see you.
good to see you.
So we've been on before. You have a great event coming up at the Kate.
Yes, I do.
I love the Kate. I went to see a ballet there. It was really nice.
You are so sophisticated.
No, it was the Nutcracker. I took my daughter, and it was really cute. But I hadn't been. It's so great. You're going to be there, and obviously you're very funny. But I think it's even funnier that you used to be a lawyer.
You looked at me like, you're going to be smart enough to go to law school? Yeah, I did. I was a lawyer. I went to Providence College. I grew up in Rhode Island. We have a common thing in Rhode Island. Your dad went to classical, and I went to classical high school, which is a high school in Providence. I met my wife at the high school that we went to. Her name is Carol, and we dated 12 years before we got married.
Oh my God, you're such a commitment phobe.
Don't be quiet. Listen, she proposed finally.
Thank God.
I can't tell you her exact words because I get really emotional, but they ended with, "Or get off the pot." And we're completely opposites. Like, and I think it works. I'm like Mr. ADHD. Like, this isn't an act. And she's very methodical, one thing at a time. I multitask. Even in bed. My idea of romantic evening is making love to my wife while I'm on the phone with my broker, eating Chinese food, watching a football game, and having a satellite dish installed. 1,000 shares sounds good. That tastes good, honey. That's so good right there. It's good. It's good! And so we've been together a long time, and my family's in Rhode Island. And yes, I was a lawyer down on Wall Street, and I started writing jokes as a hobby, and I sold some to Jay Leno. And people said, did you ever think like you might be a comedian? And I'm like, well, I was always like the funniest lawyer in my law firm, which is kind of like being the sexiest IT guy. And and then my mother had a heart attack when I told her I wanted to leave because I grew up in a very Italian family in Rhode Island. Yeah.
And they were like, no, you go make some money.
Exactly.
Make some
and she's
money.
making the meatballs.
You're not that funny.
Exactly. And my mother is really, really funny. My mother's 85. She grew up in the Depression. She started a furniture business on her own with my dad, like when she was 30, when it was unheard of for women to do that. Really progressive. And my mother will not buy anything because she grew up in the Depression. So she finds stuff in the garbage and she uses it, including a hearing aid that whistles all the time. It's one of those. Do you ever try to talk? Right? You ever try to talk? Right? It's like, Mom, I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to... It's like talking to a tea kettle in a house dress, okay? So now combine that with the fact that my mother's very forgetful. You go to my mother's furniture store. It's in North Providence, really.
This is a real place.
Yes. Well, your dad grew up in the same neighborhood that my wife grew up on the east side of Providence near Brown. My mother's store is like 5 miles from there.
Okay, yeah.
You go to my mother's store, she will forget you're there, and she locks customers in the store in the middle of the day. I go there one day, the door's locked, all right, and there's like a 60-year-old woman in the store. I go, man, what happened? She goes, I was looking around. I turned to ask your mother a question. I couldn't get out. I said, how long have you been here? She goes, 5 hours.
Oh, my God.
I go, what have you been doing? She goes, well, I browsed a lot. She goes, I took a nap on that sofa. And she goes, is your name Paul? I go, yeah. She goes, well, the phone rang. You have messages. She took messiges for me.
All right, Paul Mercurio, everyone, go see him at the Kate before we run out of time. Mark, thank you for being here.
And I'm going to be at the Bridge Street Live Theater tomorrow night in Collinsville.
Awesome. Happy Friday, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Pine Sol for everyone.
Yay.